Hi friends, today I'm going to be making some cards using new products from Stampin' Up that will become available on November 7th, 2023 through our online exclusives on our website. So I am going to show you these products that I have received and let's see what we create. So let's start stamping. The first thing I want to show you is our beautiful Garden Meadow stamp set, the Coordinating Designer Series paper, the Coordinating Garden Meadow dies. Let's start with the paper. This is absolutely sensational. This scenery paper is beautiful. This is called Meandering Meadows. It's a stack of 6x6 and look at these patterns. So it looks like there's 4 of each. And I'll show you the reverse in just a minute. Like, gorgeous. All you really need to do is stamp a sentiment and put it on a card base, and your cards will be absolutely beautiful with the Designer Series paper doing all of the work for you. Of course, the stamp set that coordinates with this will also be beautiful, as will many of our other stamp sets. I absolutely love the colors. I love the artwork. I should have sorted these out before I put the camera on, but I didn't. So you get to see them as I go through them here. Oh my goodness, there's a ton of patterns here. Can get a lot of cards out of this one pack, that's for sure. I do think this paper is going to go quick, so make sure you're ready to place your order on November 7th. If you're in Canada and you don't already have a demonstrator, my links will be down below. I'd be happy to help you. Otherwise, go to StampinUp.com if you don't have a demonstrator and you can find one near you. So I have flipped the sides, right? So that's this one, that's the reverse. The reverse of that one. Let's see. Let's do it like this. Pretty colors. That'd be a gorgeous sunset background. I love this paper, you guys. I just love it. I mean, what's not to love about it? Honestly, I don't think many of us will be using the reverse sides. Because these sceneries are just gorgeous. But I do think the bits that are left over after we cut our paper is where I'll probably be using some of the background patterns. Got 3 more here. Nice beautiful blue. And the last one. See, that's a beautiful one too. All right, so let me choose a pattern to use for today's card. This card is going to be for my dad. I want to pop a card in the mail for him. That's pretty. They're all pretty. Oh, I think this one. Okay. Put that away before I change my mind on the paper. So let's take a look at the stamp set. Really great sentiments. I can't imagine having a better friend. And all the fun little wheelbarrows and birds and gardening things, plants that you can use with the coordinating dies. And then the dies also have this beautiful archway, the fence, the grass. So this is a very versatile bundle. And then also look at our embellishments with the little birds, the little dragonflies. I haven't opened this. Let me go ahead and open this and see what's on the top. So we have lots of birds going in different directions, and then the dragonflies. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make the first card. I'm bringing in my mini die cutting machine. I want to use this die and cut out this pattern. So I'm just going to position it on just like so, and I'm going to trim that up. Oh, cutting this beautiful paper. And I'll just go ahead and trim that as well. Okay, will that fit on this? No, I need to cut a little bit more. I have just cut a piece of basic white that measures 3 3/4 by 5. So now I'm going to place that on and cut that out. What I'm going to do here is I am going to cut right along this line right here and then glue that right inside that arched. Now I have a piece of basic white. This measures 11 by 4 1/4, so I'm just folding it in half. That's going to be my card base. And I'm going to take some more of this paper and use that as a background. So let's take a look here. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is take the same paper that I just used. This one right here. Trim this up because I want this to be on the center of the card. So I am going to take off, this is 6 inches, so I'm going to take off 1 inch on both sides. Spin that around, line it up at 4, and then I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. And then I'm going to pop it up like this. So that's where I'm going with that. So let me get my card base back in. It's going to go right there. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals and pop that on. I don't know what I'm doing yet for my sentiment. I'll figure that out as we go along. Okay, I got them all. So I'm just going to kind of line this up with the Designer Series paper behind this. Look at, I'm using a different paper, you guys. I didn't even realize until I was lining up. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a different pattern, but it's going to look perfect. Look at, oh my gosh. That is a very happy, unplanned, I'm not even going to call it a mistake because it looks like, you know, the mountains and a bigger tree. Wow, that's pretty cool. All right, let's get rid of these backings because we all know they will follow you throughout the entire house and yard and into town as they do. So this is what I have so far. What next? What am I going to do next? What other dies do we want to use? Do we want to use some dies? I do believe I am going to stamp these birds. I'm going to stamp those with basic gray. And I'm going to use my blending pen to pull that gray into the birds. I'm going to use the fine tip on my black marker just to go on top of the eyes, just to make them a little bit darker. And let's cut that out. My little birds. And I'm going to stamp and cut the flowers too, but I'm not sure if I'm going to actually use them on the card. I think I'm going to use these ones. Let's pull those out as well. Go Go with my marker directly onto my stamp, onto the greenery. I'm going to go in with my shaded spruce. Again, using my marker directly to the stamp. And I'm not just going to stamp right down like I could, but I'm not going to, and look, I got ink there. I'm actually going to mist this with a little bit of water first, and then stamp down. Hold it for a minute, let that ink go into the paper, and then you get more of a softer look. I'm going to bring my blending pen back in and pull in that color again. Coordinating die, cut that out. Let's see what I can do with these pieces. My thoughts were popping this up around here and putting the birds. Do we want the birds down there? I want the birds up there. I think I'm just gonna keep it simple and put the birds there, and I'm gonna glue them right on. I'm gonna bring that bird stamp back in and stamp it again, and this time I'm going to cut out just the birds and pop them up. I want to add some more gray to this, so I'm bringing in the smoky slate ink pad now, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of that color with my blending pen, tap it onto the paper because I don't want it to be super dark, and I'm just going to lightly add a little bit of that ink. And just for fun, to add a little bit more color, I'm going to bring in some Pool Party. I'm completely winging these colors. You'll notice if you've not used a blending pen before, I just went back and forth on my paper to take off any excess ink that may be on there before I go into the next color. And I'm just going to pull in some blue. And I think I'm just going to cut out Mama Bird here. I'm just going to bend this a little bit just to give it some extra dimension. And then pop that on. I really like how this looks popped, so I am going to go ahead and cut out the other two birds and do the same thing. Just using 1/4 of a mini dimensional. I like to use my scissors to pick those little bits up. And I'll just stamp hello on this card. And for my sentiment, I'm going to use my black memento. Pulling in some of my gold ribbon here, and I'm not positive if I'm going to go ahead and do this, but I'm thinking it might look pretty to wrap this around, going under a little bit and then tying a knot. So let's see what that looks like. Glue dots just to make sure that stays in place. Wishing I had actually stamped that hello in gold now. I could go on top of it, couldn't I? Oh, well, let's try. Okay, embossing buddy. Grab that hello again. Ink that with my Versamark. And try to line that up best I can with the camera. We're right below my nose here. Okay, let's get some gold powder. And you know, sometimes you just gotta try things, right? And what's the worst that can happen? If it doesn't look good, I'm gonna stamp my sentiment on another piece of paper and put it right on top with some dimensionals. But you have to play and try and see what you come up with. And I dare say I lined that up not too badly. I definitely prefer this with the gold. The black was just a little bit too stark. And to finish the card, I wanted to put some of those dragonflies on here. Beautiful, beautiful paper. I love everything in this whole bundle. This sweet, gorgeous. I'm gonna make another card because I want to use this piece from the first card. So I'm just going to trim around. I'm going to cut this down. I think I'm going to cut this down at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and put the whole cover the whole panel of my card. Just using a basic black card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Dies back in. I'm going to cut some grass using some of the leftover designer series paper. Okay, that's going to be great. This piece that I was going to use in the last card is going to get put on this card right there. I'm going to stamp a simple happy birthday on here. I'm going to use some of those bird embellishments. And I think the last thing I want to do to this card is add some dimensions with some flowers. So again, using a scrap piece of the designer series paper, I'm pulling in my punch and I'm going to use this little flower. And I'm going to just punch some leaves out of the green that's on this strip. And you know I'm probably going to mix these with water, as I tend to do. Okay, let's stick those to the card. And now I'm just going to add some rhinestones to the center of those flowers. There is the finished card. And let's pull in the first one that I did. So for 2 quick cards, I think they turned out not too badly, and I absolutely love the product. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. All the details will be listed in the description below. Take care and happy stamping.